Are traditional expectations hindering women's progress? A deep dive into global gender equality and the case of Indian women. Hi everyone and welcome back to Wisdom and Wonders. Today we are diving into a powerful topic. Are traditional expectations holding women back in modern society? Gender equality is one of the most discussed issues in the world today. While progress has been made, women in many parts of the world still face challenges rooted in traditional roles and cultural expectations. In this video, we will explore the historical roots of these expectations, analyze how they affect women today, compare global gender equality, and take a closer look at the situation of women in India. Finally, we will discuss the steps needed to overcome these challenges and create a fairer world. Let's get started. The historical roots of gender expectations. To understand why women face these challenges, let's take a step back in time. Historically, most societies assigned rigid roles based on gender. For centuries, men were considered the breadwinners and decision makers, while women were confined to domestic roles, raising children, cooking, and maintaining the household. These roles were reinforced by laws, religion, and cultural traditions, creating a system where women's value was tied to their ability to serve their families. In ancient Greece, women weren't even considered full citizens. They couldn't vote, own property, or participate in public life. Similarly, in medieval period, women were often married off young and denied education. These patterns were not exclusive to Europe. In many parts of the world, similar restrictions existed. The modern shift toward gender equality. Fast forward to today and the situation has improved significantly in many parts of the world. Women now have access to education, careers and rights they were once denied. But despite this progress, traditionally expectations haven't completely disappeared. In the United States, women make up nearly 50% of the workforce, but they are still underrepresented in leadership positions. Globally, the United Nations reports that women earn just 77 cents for every dollar earned by men, a significant gender pay gap that persists across industries. Problems women face due to traditional expectations, career limitations, and gender stereotypes. One of the biggest challenges women face is being stereotyped into certain careers. Fields like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are still dominated by men because of long-standing stereotypes that these are male professions. Globally, women holds less than 30% of jobs in STEM fields. Even though studies show they perform equally well in these areas, this is not due to lack of talent, but because of societal beliefs and biases. The double burden of work and home. Even then, women work outside the home, they are often expected to take on the majority of household chores and childcare responsibilities. This is called the double burden. In countries like Japan and South Korea, where traditional family roles are deeply ingrained, women spend significantly more hours on unpaid domestic works than men. This limits their ability to focus on their careers or personal growth. Marriage and family pressures. In many cultures, women are pressured to marry young and prioritize family over their own ambitions. These pressures often lead women to compromise on their education or career goals. In many parts of Africa and South Asia, girls are married off as teenagers, cutting short their education and future potential. Even in developed countries, women often face societal pressure to settle down by a certain age. Unequal pay and workplace discrimination. Even when women overcome traditional expectations and enter the workforce, they face issues like unequal pay, fewer promotions, and workplace harassment. In Europe, women make up 60% of university graduates, but only 25% of senior management roles. This shows that while education is accessible, leadership opportunities remain elusive. Cultural and media stereotypes. The way women are portrayed in media often reinforces traditional roles. In many movies and advertisements, women are still shown as caregivers or objects of beauty rather than leaders or innovators. Hollywood and Bollywood both have a long history of portraying women as secondary to male protagonists, which reflects and perpetuates societal norms. Gender equality around the world. Let's take a moment to compare gender equality in different parts of the world. Nordic countries. Leading the way, countries like Sweden, Norway, and Iceland consistently rank higher on gender equality. These nations offer paid parental leave, affordable childcare, and equal pay policies, creating a supportive environment for women. Iceland became the first country in the world to legally enforce equal pay between men and women in 2018. This policy ensures that men and women are paid the same for the same work. In contrast, many developing nations struggle with gender inequality due to poverty, lack of education, and deeply ingrained cultural norms. In sub-Saharan Africa, over 50% of girls do not complete primary school. Education is key to breaking the cycle of poverty and inequality, but many girls are denied this opportunity. The case of Indian women. Now, let's take a closer look at the situation for women in India. Traditional roles in Indian society. In India, traditional expectations often place women in caregiving roles. They are expected to prioritize family over education and career, which limits their opportunities for growth. Even highly educated women in India often leave their jobs after marriage or childbirth due to family pressure and lack of workplace support. Gender inequality in the workforce. India has one of the lowest female labor force participation rates in the world, only about 25%. Women face wage gaps, lack of leadership opportunities, and societal resistance to their careers. A study by the World Economic Forum found that women in India earn 34% less than men for the same work. This gap is among the highest globally. Violence and safety issues. Women in India also face safety challenges. Issues like harassment, domestic violence, and lack of public safety discourage women from pursuing education or careers. According to NCRB data, crimes against women in India have increased by 15% in the last 5 years, highlighting the urgent need for better safety measures. What can be done to overcome these challenges? Education and awareness. We need to educate both boys and girls about gender equality from a young age. Awareness campaigns can challenge traditional stereotypes and promote respect for women's choices. Equal work policies. Governments and companies must introduce policies like equal pay, paid parental leave, and flexible working hours to support women in the workforce. Shared responsibilities at home. Men need to take on more domestic responsibilities, breaking the stereotype that women alone are responsible for household tasks. Representation in media. Media plays a huge role in shaping societal norms. By showcasing women as leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators, we can inspire change. Conclusion. In conclusion, traditional expectations are still a major obstacle to gender equality. However, with education, supportive policies, and cultural shifts, we can overcome these barriers. Women deserve the freedom to live their lives on their own terms without being limited by outdated traditions. Let's work together to create a world where gender doesn't determine potential.